do it every year. Let's just go over a few things. A laser should be in standby mode when not in use. True or false?
True.
During a laser procedure, only the surgeon can operate the foot pedal?
True.
What does laser stand for? Amplification, stimulation, emission, radiation.
What is it?
Light amplification by the stimulation, emission of radiation.
Oh my God.
And one more question. If you notice a key in an unattended laser, such as in storage, it's okay to leave it there?
No.
Okay, good.
We all think.
You passed. Remember the answers. So we've already gone over what laser stands for. It's actually an acronym for light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation. This is yours. I'm sorry, I couldn't get to mine. It's corrected. There is a typo here, but I couldn't get to the true PowerPoint this morning. So this is a fall PowerPoint. I apologize. And who's in the corner? That's left over from Deb Renninger. She's still here. So we do have a laser safety program here. Anybody that has class 3 or class 4 lasers, which we do, has to have an official laser safety program. Therefore, we have to follow ANSI standards. ANSI is American National Standard for Safe Use of Lasers in Healthcare. I'm sorry. That's down there in the bottom. That is the logo, and we do have some new manuals here, which Christine will touch on in just a minute. And as such, because we do have a laser safety program, everybody has to have medical exams, specifically eye exams, before they start employment here. That serves as a baseline, and that baseline is kept in associate health. And if we should ever have any kind of an occurrence in our department where there is a scattering of a laser beam, or if you're not wearing appropriate eye protection, that's why you have that baseline eye exam, so we can actually follow you and see if there has been any type of eye injury. Eye injuries are one of the most common things that we're going to see here if we do have an eye injury, in addition to what? Birds, fire. So that's why we do what we do as far as following our laser safety program. We have a laser safety committee. I'm not sure if it's up and going as of yet. And then we also have laser safety officers. Does anybody know who our laser safety officers are?
Sure.
We are blessed to have not one, but 2 laser safety officers. Jason Hyde and Christine Dav are our officers. If you have any kind of a laser question,
Go to Jason.
Go to Jason. If you can't find Jason, find Christine. And also, as a part of a handout today, you did get our laser safety utilization policy that's specific to Swedes here. It outlines everything that we should be doing for the specific type of cases that we're doing. And those are based on our ANSI standards. And Christine?
Yes, with this, it's mandatory that we keep these 2 resources in our department. They've just been ordered. I guess I'll just keep them in my office for now, unless Jason wants them. If you have any questions about lasers, this is your resource if we're unavailable.
And in addition to our Swedes policy, you can also go to the ARN guidelines. They will give you recommended practices for safe laser use as well. As such, lasers are a precise surgical tool. As I mentioned, they're a class 3 medical device, and they're specifically named for the medium that the atoms stimulate to produce amplified light. The tissue absorbs the light and it converts it to heat. That's basically how a laser works. There are 4 types of laser mediums. There's gas, crystal, diode, and liquid. We don't use them all here. The different wavelengths then are created by those different mediums that I mentioned. The wavelengths have different functions. are measured in nanometers, and that's abbreviated NL. So for example, a diode laser produces a wavelength anywhere from 810 to 1470 nanometers. Whereas the green light or KTP is a shorter wavelength, 532. Holmium is the longest at 2140 in that bunch. And then we have our standard CO2, which has been around for a very long time. And that's 1060 nanometers.
Does everybody know what the diode laser is used for here in our department? Dental. That's the only laser we own. And Dr. Malcolm's the only one that can run it. He's the only one certified to run it. No, we bought it.
So the two mediums that we have here are the crystal and the CO2 or the gas. So diode is a crystal, and I was surprised at all of this. KTP is a crystal, and holmium is a crystal. And as such, if you think about them, they're all delivered by a laser fiber. Precautions when you're using that laser fiber are you want to make sure that it's intact, that when it's used, if it's used through a scope, you want the end to be out of the tip of the scope so that you don't damage the scope. We have had instances where we've damaged ureteroscopes and such when we're using a laser and it was fired and the laser fiber was not beyond the tip of the scope itself. That's a surgeon thing, but that is something to watch for. As far as the scrub, when you're using one of these crystal mediums and you have a laser fiber, you want to make sure that when you attach it to your drape, if you do, you don't crush the fiber itself. You use a tube holder or something like that, or perhaps a Velcro on the actual drape itself so that you don't have a possibility of crushing that fiber itself. What would happen if the fiber were crushed? You're going to have a scattering of that laser medium. That's where you run into eye injuries or a fire possibility.
So wear your goggles in that room, please.
Goggles are not an option. The CO2 then is delivered, it's a gas, so it's delivered by a handpiece. We don't use it that often, but if you think about it, it is that handpiece and that articulating arm. So what are some of the safety measures that we utilize here? Specifically, there should be controlled access going in and out of the OR room. There should be signs, laser warning signs specific to the type of laser that's being used in the specific room. It should be posted at all entrances, both doors to the room. There should be at least one pair of laser safety goggles specific to that laser on the outside of the room. So if somebody does need to come in, they have the opportunity to place their eye protection before entering the laser treatment zone. Windows should be covered with a border if necessary. The laser should not be left unattended when the key is in place and when it's in standby mode. Smoke evacuation should be used for any kind of external procedures and laparoscopic procedures. Smoke evacuation from laser is just as dangerous as smoke from any type of a electrosurgical unit. So here do we still have the inline filters for laparoscopic procedures? The Paul inline filters? Anyway, we should be using an inline filter for laparoscopic procedures, and then we have the ConMed smoke evacuator for external procedures. Smoke evacuation is also included in our policy. We should be providing a smoke-free zone. It's going to reduce the exposure to laser plume, which contains laser-generated airborne contaminants. And once again, here's a picture. I assume that we're still using the PAW for laparoscopic procedures, and then the ConMed with the flexible tubing for external procedures. As far as eye protection, like I said, part of our laser safety program is everybody gets that baseline eye exam. Safety eyewear should be appropriate for the laser being used. It should be labeled with the wavelength. So we go back to those wavelengths that we saw for the different types of lasers. They must be worn in the laser treatment area. Laser treatment area, if you start looking a little bit closer into some of the materials that we have pertaining to laser, you may see something called the nominal hazard zone, and that's abbreviated NHZ, and that's the actual laser treatment area. So that will be your operating room itself. And that's where all of our standards that we should be following pertain to, inside that operating room, not just up around the surgeon or up around the laser. And once again, it's also important that not only we wear our laser safety goggles, but the patient's eyes and eyelids must also be protected. You can put a goggle on them or wet eye pads. Any questions?
When you wear real everyday glasses, still have to wear safety?
Still have to wear them. Yep, they're not protection.
Yeah, because it can get you from the sides, and your glasses might be the right type of protection.
And the laser safety goggles themselves, like I said, should be labeled with the wavelength that they're gonna protect you from. So they should be free from scratches and cracks, and actually it's a good idea to check them. They're coming in from an outside vendor, so you wanna make sure that you have the appropriate eye protection.
Documentation wise, what do we need to, other than, because they fill out the sheet?
Yeah, everything, United Shockwave now sends it electronically. It gets sent to the front desk, and then Judy gives it to me, and it's filed in our laser book. You guys just have to fill out the epic portion of laser.
What's in that portion, that's what I'm saying.
You just check, it's the safety checklist, what you have on.
Okay, well, we don't have to like, how much power, or, you know what I mean, how long
You
it's on,
you
or-
will have, yes, I'm
That's what
pretty
I'm
sure
saying.
that's still on there. I know they've tweaked that site a little bit, but